If you watched my first video on imposter syndrome and thought, okay, but why do I still feel like a fraud, even after all my success? This video's for you. I'm Tiffany, a licensed therapist who used to cry in my car between client sessions because I felt like I was fooling everyone, including myself. And today I'm going to share with you the hidden trigger behind imposter syndrome that no one talks about, the one that keeps high achieving women trapped in this cycle no matter how much they accomplish. Because here's what I've learned after 10 plus years in therapy practice. Imposter syndrome isn't really about your achievements at all. As a therapist, I've noticed something fascinating, that women who struggle with imposter syndrome aren't the ones who are really failing. They're the ones who are winning. They're the CEOs, the doctors, the entrepreneurs, the women who everyone else looks up to. And here's the pattern I've seen over and over. These women will achieve something incredible, land the promotion, close the deal, get the recognition. And instead of celebrating, they're immediately thinking, when are they going to figure it out? That I don't belong here. Here's what's really happening underneath that thought. The hidden trigger behind imposter syndrome isn't your lack of qualifications or your fear of failure. You know what it is? It's actually your nervous system's response to safety. Now, let me explain what I mean. For high achieving women, success becomes a survival strategy early on in life. Maybe you learned that being perfect kept you safe from criticism. Maybe achieving was the only way to get love and attention. Or maybe your excellence was your shield against rejection and abandonment. So your nervous system learned this equation: achievement equals safety. But here's the problem. When you're constantly achieving to feel safe, you never actually get to feel safe. Your nervous system stays in what we call hypervigilance mode, always scanning for the next threat or the next way you might fail or be found out. I remember the day I realized this in my own life. I had gotten the therapy license, something I worked towards for years. And instead of feeling proud, I felt terrified. I kept thinking, what if I don't know enough? What if I hurt someone? What if they find out I'm just making it up as I go? I wasn't really making it up as I go, but somewhere in there you do. I was sitting in my car after a particular good session with the client, and she had a breakthrough and she was crying, and those tears were real, right? They were tears of relief. I was crying too, but not from joy, from terror, because I realized that no matter how much I achieved, I would never feel enough. As long as my nervous system believed that my worth depended on me being perfect, I wasn't cutting it. This is what I call success trauma, when your achievement become evidence of how much you have to lose, rather than proof of what you've gained. Your brain literally cannot compute safety and success at the same time. You know why? Because success has always meant more pressure, more expectations, more ways to fail. So let me ask you this. When you achieve something, what is your first thought? Is it, I did it? Or is it, now I have to keep this up? When someone compliments your work, do you feel proud? Or do you immediately think of all the ways it could have been better? Or when you are in a meeting or someone asks you for your opinion, do you keep speaking confidently or do you hesitate? If you're nodding along to any of this, your nervous system is likely stuck in that old pattern where achievements feels dangerous because it means more visibility, more scrutiny, or more chances of being found out. And here's what I want you to know. This isn't your fault. It is your nervous system trying to protect you based on old information. And it's doing exactly what it's trained to do. This is actually where my brave self framework comes in, because healing imposter syndrome isn't about achieving more or proving yourself more. It's about teaching your nervous system that you can be safe and successful at the same time. So let me break this down. The B in brave self is for boundary. You have to set boundaries around your worth. Your value as a person cannot be tied to performance, period. This means celebrating wins without immediately moving to the next goal. It means saying, I am enough as I am, even when your brain wants to argue with you. R, regulation. This is a big one for imposter syndrome. You have to learn to regulate your nervous system when success triggers that dangerous response. When you get promoted and your brain starts spiraling about all the ways you have messed up, you need tools to calm that response. So right now, while watching this, I want you to take a deep breath with me. 4 counts in, hold for 4, out for 6. Feel your shoulders drop. This is what regulation feels like in your body. Right now, A is for awareness. You need to become aware of when your imposter syndrome is actually your nervous system's fear response. When you think, I don't belong here, ask yourself, is this true? Or Is this my nervous system trying to keep me small, to keep me safe? V is for voice. Imposter syndrome silences your voice. It makes you second guess everything you want to say. Healing means learning to speak up when your voice shakes, even when you're not 100% sure. E is for empowerment. True empowerment means making decisions from your values, not from your fears. It means choosing to show up fully even when your imposter syndrome is whispering in your ear, you can't do it. Let me tell you what happened after that day in my car. I realized I had two choices. I can keep achieving and hoping that someday I'll feel enough, or I can start doing the work to heal that part of me that believed my worth was conditional. I chose the harder path. I started on my own therapy journey. I started practicing brave self principles I now teach. And slowly, very slowly, I began to separate my identity from my achievement. The breakthrough came about 6 months later. I was presenting at a conference, something that would have been terrifying before. And right before I went on stage, I felt a familiar panic rise. What if I mess up? Or what if I realize I don't know what I'm talking about? But I did know what I was talking about, but that was what the voice was telling me. That was my imposter syndrome. You know what? Instead of spiraling, you know what I did? I used my regulation tools. I reminded myself, I'm not here to be perfect. I'm here to be hopeful. I've worked and done the job. I have achieved the accomplishments. And I set that boundary around my work. And I walked out on that stage, not as someone who had to prove herself, but someone who had something more valuable to share. That presentation led to me speaking in a lot of different opportunities. And I gained clients the whole time. But here's what's more important. It was the first time I experienced success without the accompanying terror. And I finally taught myself, my nervous system, that I could be visible, successful, and safe. So here's what I want you to do this week. I'm giving you one simple, powerful exercise. The next time you achieve something, and I mean this can be anything from finishing a project to getting a compliment, I want you to pause and ask yourself, what is my nervous system telling me right now? Are you immediately thinking about the next thing you need to do? Are you minimizing the achievement? Are you worried about maintaining this level of performance? If so, I want you to try this. I want you to take your hand, place it on your heart, and take 3 deep breaths and say this out loud. I am safe in my success. I am allowed to feel proud, and my worth is not conditional on being perfect. Now, I know this might feel silly at first, but I want you to remember your nervous system has been practicing the old patterns for years. It needs to learn that success can be safe. And if you're ready to go deeper with this work, I have a free Brave Self assessment that shows you exactly which areas, boundaries, regulation, awareness, voice, or empowerment you need to focus on first. The link is in the description below. Before you go, I want to hear from you. Please comment brave below if you've ever felt successful on the outside but terrified on the inside. And tell me, what's one achievement you never let yourself fully celebrate? Because here's what I want you to know. You didn't come this far just to come this far. You came this far to learn that you are worthy of every success that you've created and every success that is still coming towards you. If this resonates with you, make sure to subscribe because next week I'm going to be sharing why success can actually feel like survival and what to do about it. I'll see you then.